Hello class, so I wanted to make a quick video here helping walk you through how to make a console menu. So let's open up the code, and you can see here I've already have some stuff kind of pre-made for us. So I have this display menu method, and that's just a bunch of console.write lines, and I have these actions that I want to perform. I don't know what these actions are, but I know that they exist. So let's walk through how to actually set this up. So what I want to do is obviously I want to display my menu to the user. I want someone to be able to see what all actions they can take. If I run this now, perfect, we're on the right path. So what I can do from here is I can start to loop this, right? I can say, let's make a bool for is program running. And we'll just assume the program is running when it first starts up, and while the program is running, we want to display our menu. And now we've got this infinite loop, but it still doesn't quite give us what we want. So let's create a new method. Actually, let's just pick a menu option. So let's come down here, let's make a static int, and we'll call this maybe choose menu option. And let's think through what we need to have happen. So we want to have the user type in one of these numbers that kind of corresponds with an action down here. We want to have them choose one of those. We want to convert it to an int. We want to make sure that it's valid, that it is options 1, 2, 3, or 0. And then we want to kind of send that out back to our main method. That's why I have it returning int here. So let's walk through all of that. So to do that, what we maybe want to consider is we want to do a try parse. Right, that's the first thing we want to do. So let's bool was parsed successfully, and we always want to deny by default. Right, that's a good secure programming practice. We're going to restore our result, and we just need to give it a value. 0 is fine, and we need to actually parse the data. So let's do was parsed successfully. If we do an int dot try parse with the console dot read lines, so they're having them type in user input, and we're outputting the result into this result variable we made. And let's think through this. So also something else I want to do. We want to do this in a loop, right? So as long as they don't know, as long as they're not typing in a number, we want to tell them you need to type in a number. So while this was not parsed successfully, it's what the exclamation mark here is for. It's going to not this Boolean variable here. So if this was true, they did type in a number, then it would go to false. We'd stop looping. If it was false, then this would make it become true, and we would keep looping. And we want to know, let's see here. We want to keep parsing for as long as it was successful. But if there's something else we want to know, we want to make sure that it is like a valid command, right? It's the other part of this equation. So we want to make sure it is a 1, a 2, or a 3. Well, we could set up a big long if statement here. You know, if so if result is less than or equal to 3, and the result is greater than or equal to 0, then we want to say it was parsed successfully. Otherwise, maybe it wasn't. So it was parsed successfully, was false. And that'll kind of clamp it to the range of values that we want. But this is starting to get a little bit messy, and we know about methods now, so let's make a new method. Why not? Static, let's make this bool. So if we want to know, is it a valid menu option? So is valid menu option. And we'll need to pass in what the menu option is. What we can do at that point is we can pull this logic out into our new method. So let's just do that. I'm just going to give it the old copy paste, and we need to change some of these variable names. So it's no longer result, it's going to be menu option. And was parsed successfully. Well, let's think about this. So we're not actually parsing any data in is valid. We're just determining if it is valid. And we know it's valid if this is true. So let's return true in that case. And down here, let's return false. And that'll tell us, you know, hey, what's going on here? Is it true or false? Some of the more advanced programmers among you might notice that, hey, if this is giving us a Boolean value, and we're just returning true if that's true, and we're returning false if that's false, why can't we just return that? Absolutely could. Like, that's a valid bit of code right there. If we just deleted all this, that'll totally work. But that's a little bit more advanced than I want to do right now. So we're just going to leave it with this if statement here. So we want to update was successfully parsed. Depending on if it was successfully parsed already, and so I'm going to do this only if this is true, and it is a valid menu option. That'll kind of let us know if it was successfully parsed, and we can keep going, we can do all this fun stuff. We also want to make sure that we display like some sort of error message if it wasn't. So like if it was not successfully parsed, so just like the while loop down here, if not was successfully parsed, display some sort of little error message here. So we'll do a console dot write line, and we'll say command not recognized. That's enough for now. So what that lets us do is we can have them keep typing in different things until they've successfully entered a valid menu option. And when we're done, we said we wanted to send that back out, so we'll just put a return outside of the while loop. So it's just going to keep trying this, and then when it's done and it was successfully parsed, because that's when this will be false and we'll exit our loop, we want to return that result. So we can run that up here in our main method now. So let's make a integer for menu choice maybe, and we're going to say choose menu option. Oh, easy enough. Now we need to actually process that menu option, right? We need to determine, which thing to do. And I could have my if statements in here, and let's start to do that. Let's say if let's do a select or switch statement. So switch depending on the menu choice, and in case 1, we want to do action A, and I know I want to do action A because that's what my menu says. 1 maps to A. Format this, just kind of keep it in the style I like. And in case 2, we're going to do action B, processing the switch. Case 3, we want to do action C and stop processing the switch. We put these little break statements at the end to say, hey, don't keep running down into the next case. We're done. We've done the action we want. We can break out of this switch statement. And the default action, if something goes way off the rails and we don't know what's happening, we're just going to say break. Just don't process anything, don't do anything. But a switch statement inside of a while loop, and I've got all this logic, and there's different stuff going on, that's just hard for me to read. So let's give it the old copy paste. I'm going to cut this out. Let's make a static void process menu option. We're getting lots of practice today with making methods. So we're going to update this to option just to make the parameters match, and we're switching on the appropriate thing. And that's going to handle all that logic for us. So let's call that up here in the main method. Let's process our menu option depending on the menu choice. And the very last thing, and there's no real way around this, we have to make sure, well, we only really want to process stuff if they don't input 0, because 0 is how we exit. If we scroll down and look at our display menu, we see that 0 maps to exit. So let's go back to main. Let's add a little bit of logic here. We'll say if menu choice is 0, then is the program running anymore? No, it shouldn't be. So we're going to set that to false. Otherwise, start to process our menu option. And that should give us the exact behavior we want. So if we run this now, and I pick action 1, it's going to say doing action A, and it's done, and we see the menu again. We loop back around. I want to do action A again. That's done. Let's do action C. Still doing action A. What happened there? Oh goodness, action B still says to do action A. So we'll fix that bug. File, rerun it. And now if I do action C, it's done. That's great. Let's hit 0 to exit. Fantastic. So that takes us through everything you could want to know about how to make a menu inside of a console app. Please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help wherever I can.